rights activist calls for protection of Nigerian importers to China. Kano State government destroys 30 tons of illicit drugs. Group condemns calls for state of emergency in Zamfara State. Drone attack hits military airport in Port Sudan. The commentary is on you and your laughter. You can follow us on Instagram and at X at Radio Nigeria HQ and on Facebook at RadioNigeria.com, at Facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. Now the news in detail. A human rights activist and lawyer, Mr. Frank Tete, has called on the federal government to urgently step in and protect Nigerian importers facing growing financial fraud and unfair treatment in China. He warned that if the situation is not addressed, it could damage Nigeria's trade relationship with China. During a news briefing in Abuja, Mr. Tete revealed that many Nigerian importers had fallen victim to fraud and crackdowns by Chinese authorities. He cited the case of two Nigerian traders, Okonkwo Ijoma and Mudashiru Jimo, who reportedly lost 60 million naira in a failed currency exchange deal. According to him, the traders paid the money in naira to a Chinese businesswoman in Nigeria, expecting the equivalent in yuan to be sent to their supplier in China. But the goods never arrived and the funds were frozen by Chinese authorities over suspected money laundering. He criticized the police and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for failing to protect Nigerian citizens abroad. Mr. Tete therefore appealed to the Nigerian government to ensure China conduct a transparent investigation and to put in place measures to protect Nigerian business interests. The River Basin Development Authority, RBDAs, have pledged to boost the federal government's food security efforts by forming stronger partnership and adopting modern agricultural technologies. Alhaji Abubakar Malam, who spoke on behalf of the RBDA boards and management teams at the close of a two-day retreat in Abuja, acknowledged the numerous challenges facing the authorities. He noted the persistent issue of aging infrastructure, extreme weather conditions, and insecurity that continue to hinder optimal productivity across the zones. Malam Abubakar, who is also the managing director of the Sokoto River Basin Development Authority, acknowledged the dilapidated state of facilities and outdated equipment that limited the full potential of the river basin authorities. He emphasized that the objectives could not be achieved in isolation and stressed the importance of collaboration. The managing director also assured stakeholders that the river basin authorities would continue to maintain open door policies under the federal government's partial commercialization framework, which aimed to encourage private sector investment. The Archdeacon Abuja Conference of Evangelical Reformed Church of Christ, ERCC, Reverend Kifa Sani Wujan, has called on wealthy Nigerians and wealthy Christians to always channel their resources to the service of God and humanity. Speaking through the upgrade service of ERCC, Kotonko Abuja, to the status of local church council, Reverend Sani Wujin expressed concern over the attitude of some wealthy Christians towards the propagation of the gospel. According to the Archdeacon, the upgrade service was to further strengthen ERCC Kotonko Abuja in winning souls for Jesus Christ within and outside its environs. Earlier, the minister in charge of ERCC Kotonko Abuja, Reverend Job Toka, appealed to members of the church not to relent in contributing their quota to the expansion of God's kingdom. In a goodwill message, the Mayor of Old Kotonko, Kaida Road, Phase 2 Abuja, Chief Beatrice Mohammed Baba, stressed the need for religious groups not to relent in praying for Nigeria to overcome its economic and security challenges. The General Officer Commanding 8th Division, Nigeria Army, Major General Ibukunle Ajose, has advised youth in barracks communities to embrace skills acquisition for social security and economic development of the country. The GOC gave the advice at the graduation ceremony of the 8th Division Nigeria Army Officers' Wives Association Vocational Training Center in Sokoto State. Represented by Deputy Chief of Staff and Logistics, Colonel Raphael Adeyemi. The GOC said amidst rapid technological advancements and shifting job markets, the race to stay relevant to the society hinged on skills acquisition. He added that learning vocational skills was significantly address youth restiveness in the societies. In a remark, the chairman, NAWA, and 8th Division, Mrs. Meg Ndidia Jose, expressed joy and praised the graduating students for their perseverance and commitment to self-development. Represented by Mrs. Fatima Abbas, Mrs. Ajose commended the instructors and administrators for their unwavering dedication to empowering both women and youths in the barracks and surrounding communities. Radio Nigeria Sokoto reports that the graduates were trained in fashion designing, catering, bag making, and makeup.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Many believe life as we know it has changed irrevocably, and that in this seismic shift lies an opportunity to turn things around, improve our country, and make life better for the majority. It is time to reboot Nigeria. Daria Media, with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, presents Pivotal. Join Nabila Usman as she discusses with policymakers, civil society, industry players, and individual Nigerians implementing unconventional ideas that have the power to change our country for the better. Catch Pivotal Mondays 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Glad to have you there on the news. It's 7 minutes past 4. The Kano State government has vowed to reach the state of illicit drugs and fake pharmaceutical products, declaring a renewed commitment to protecting the health and well-being of its citizens. The State Commandant Task Force on Anti-Illicit Drugs, Brigadier General Gambo May Adua, made the assertion during the destruction of 30 tons of illicit drugs confiscated by the task force. He said the task force, inaugurated in October 2023, has made significant seizures worth 3 billion naira in 2024 alone. The State Commissioner for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Yusuf Kafo Marta, who doubles as chairman of a Peace, Restoration and Youth Rehabilitation Committee, commended the security agencies for their energy in carrying out the task. The State Commandant of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Abubakar Ahmad, reassured the commitment of his agency in the fight against drug abuse in the state. The Adamawa State Government says the controversy surrounding the chairmanship of Fufuro local government area has been resolved. The controversy followed the demise of the local government chairman, Mr. Abbas Shaibu, and the failure to swear in the vice chairman, Mrs. Peace Audu, which was viewed in some quarters as discriminatory against women. The Chief Press Secretary to Governor Amadou Fantiri, Humwashi Wanasoko, who made this known at a media party in Yola, said the vice chairman of Fufuro local government area, Mrs. Peace Audu, was in charge of affairs in the local government council. Babangida Gallion completes the report.
Kumwashi Wanasiko explained that there are baseless speculations by those who claim to be saints and standing by the people.
Excellency has been away until recently, and therefore we cannot say that the government does not want peace to be in that office.
Kumwashi therefore noted that government will not in any way interfere with the affairs of the local government, but to also wait for when the vice chairperson will be sworn in. Speaking on the scorecard of the Fintri-led administration, the convener of the media briefing, PSA George Kushi, highlighted that 1,000 citizens will be trained annually in solar photovoltaic installation as government has signed an MOU for the development of a 300 mega solar PV farm that will help in addressing power issues in the state.
The 10,000 youths for 2025 skill acquisition training program through the Paweka was unveiled, providing young Adama with life-changing opportunities for entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and global competitiveness.
Kushi explained that while the government has now embarked on the recruitment of 4,000 applicants into the civil service workforce, most of the infrastructural projects in the state are now at their finishing stages across all sectors. In the area of security, the PSA said the government has been working tirelessly with federal agencies, traditional leaders, and grassroots stakeholders in order to sustain peace, deepen trust, and protect every citizen. Speakers during the media briefing commended the infantry-led administration for its efforts to strengthen economic activities and provide job opportunities in the state. Babangida Gallion, Radio Nigeria.
A group, Patriots of the Advancement of Peace and Social Development, has condemned calls for a state of emergency to be declared in Zamfara State, describing it as politically motivated, ill-conceived, and unwarranted. In a statement, the executive director of the group, Dr. Sani Shinkafi, emphasized that the call was a calculated attempt to destabilize the state, cause confusion and political upheavals to undermine Governor Dauda Lawal's giant strides in transforming Zamfara from an agricultural base to an industrial state. Dr. Shinkafi, who was National Secretary of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, accused the opposition in the state of trying to get through the back door what they failed to achieve through elections. Dr. Sani Shinkafi, who was also the patron of the Tinubu Shatima Presidential Campaign Council in 2023, took time to examine the constitutional provisions regarding the declaration of a state of emergency in an area argued that Zamfara State was far from meeting such provisions. The Southeast Nigeria Development Fund, SENDEF, says the death of its founding chairman, Mr. Pascal Dozie, is a national loss that created a void hard to fill. A tribute by a member of SENDEF board, Mr. Chris Okoye, and his interim secretary, Dr. Friday Ahuchi, describes Mr. Dozier as a visionary and dedicated leader. They said, as a visionary leader, a titan of industry, and a devoted son of the Southeast, his legacy of service and dedication had left an indelible mark on the region and beyond. The fund maintained that as its founding chairman, Mr. Dozie brought more than just a name. He brought a lifetime of wisdom, strategic foresight, and an unshakable commitment to empowering the Southeast. It stressed that he was one of the pioneers whose belief in regional collaboration and inclusive growth helped to give birth to SENDEF, an initiative designed to unlock economic potential, foster sustainable development, and uplift communities across the geopolitical zone. The fund promised to sustain Mr. Dozier's founding principles of self-reliance, regional unity, economic empowerment to serve as a model of homegrown development strategy. And from the foreign scene, a drone attack launched by the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, struck a military airport in the city of Port Sudan. According to the Sudanese army, the incident marks the first time RSF attacks have reached the city, the de facto capital of Sudan's military-led government, since the conflict between the warring factions erupted 2 years ago. Sudanese army spokesperson Nabil Abdullah said the RSF had launched several suicide drones at the eastern Red Sea port city, targeting the Osman Digna Air Base, a goods warehouse, and some civilian facilities. He said no injuries had been reported, but the attacks had caused limited damage. The RSF has not commented on the incident. Sudan plunged into conflict in April 2023 when a vicious power struggle broke out between the Sudanese armed forces and Rapid Support Forces, a powerful paramilitary group, ahead of a planned transition to civilian rule. At least 150,000 people are estimated to have died in the ensuing civil war, with some 12 million forced to flee their homes.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
In a world of diverse cultures, religion, and belief. These differences shouldn't divide, but bind. Bound together in love, we can complement each other's strengths. Indeed, Nigeria is a blessed nation, and its diversity a blessing. For more on how to harness this blessing, join Mr. Benyu on Common Ground Matters every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we further discuss how to foster and promote peace and unity. Common Ground Matters fosters and promotes peace and unity every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on Radio Nigeria Network. Join us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
We now bring you a summary of major events for last week.
We begin the package with the celebration of Workers' Day, marked 1st of May every year by the nation's workforce. Workers' Day is a day dedicated to celebrate the resilience and contributions of workers to nation building in Nigeria. It is equally a day to remind the government at all levels and employers of labor to implement fair wages, safe working conditions, and dignity of labor. Addressing workers on the occasion, the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, Comrade Joe Ajaero, urged the federal government to take another look at the adjustment of salaries to enable workers get the new minimum wage due them.
A 70,000 naira wage today cannot even buy a bag of rice. And beyond this, we must demand living wage.
Also, the President of the Trades Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, Comrade Festus Osifo, called on the state governments that are yet to commence the payment of the new minimum wage to reflect the current realities.
Implement minimum wage that reflect current reality. Withdraw exploitative tax bill. Reverse electricity privatization. Pay all outstanding allowances and pension.
The civil servants equally demand urgent steps from states and the federal government towards a policy shift that would bring tangible changes and restore hope amongst Nigerian workers. As part of measures to ease transportation challenges of workers, the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Mr. Bitrus Jesalo, has presented 2-seater Toyota Coastal vehicles and 2 18-seater Toyota buses to staff of the ministry. Presenting the vehicle to the workers in Abuja, Mr. Jesalo said the gesture was in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for improving the welfare of workers. Also in review, the federal government has announced the nation's entry into the Global Cross-Border Privacy Rules Forum as an associate member. This move is part of effort to strengthen the country's framework for secure cross-border data transfers. The National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, NDPC, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, started these in Abuja at a meeting briefing ahead of the 2025 Annual General Meeting and Conference of Network for Africa Data Protection Authorities.
Nigeria will have the ability to observe the procedure for ensuring accountability within organizations during cross-border data transfers and ensure that indigenous data protection organizations are able to leverage.
Also within the week in Farkas, the Federal Ministry of Works says the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project has earned the endorsement of international financiers, which makes it a notable investment beyond construction. The Minister of Works, Mr. David Umahi, who spoke during an inspection tour of the highway, reassured that the first phase of the coastal would be ready for inauguration by December, while tolling would also commence.
That will be done with 20 kilometers from Ahmad Bello Way and 30th of April, meaning that we are going to surpass 20 kilometers from this site.
Now to the educational sector in the week. The Federal Ministry of Education has described as disturbing a report published by a national daily alleging some universities made unauthorized deductions from funds disbursed under the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NELFund) scheme. In a statement, the minister, Dr. Olatunji Alausa, emphasizes that any unauthorized deductions from student loan not only breach financial ethics and undermines the foundation upon which NELFund was established, but a betrayal of trust. That's summary of major events in the country
country last week. I am Emmanuel E.G.
On sports, seven-time champions, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, in confident mood ahead of their second group game against the Cub Lions of Morocco this evening. For the details and more, here is Kelechi Bernard.
The Flying Eagles are poised to earn Nigeria a second successive group win today against their Moroccan opponents in the ongoing CAF Under-20 AFCON in Egypt. Acknowledging the tactical nature of the Moroccan side, Nigeria's winger Clayton Jefta believes the Flying Eagles have got the wherewithal to defeat the North Africans at the 30 June Stadium in Cairo.
I know they are a very good side. They have a good players, good tactics, good techniques. And I think we use the Nigerian mentality, our strength and our power against the Moroccan team for sure. I know we are going to win. It won't be an easy game for us, but we'll push through, fights with everything.
The Nigeria-Morocco tie kicks off at 7 p.m. while another Group B encounter will see Flying Eagles victims Tunisia battle Kenya in an earlier fixture. Nigeria are second in the group with 3 points, same as Morocco, who top the standings with a superior number of goals scored. Mofia Tilola and Issa Yahya emerged as the most outstanding players of the CBN Junior Tennis Championships, which ended yesterday. Atilola won the girls under 14 category by defeating Godwin Success 6-love 6-1 in the final at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club in Oniko. In the boys under 14 category, another most outstanding player award winner Issa Yahya put up impressive performances on road the final where he played Joel Michael of Lagos. In some of the final results yesterday, Sheyi Ogunshake defeated Bolaho Lawale from Ondo 6-4, 6-3 to win the boys under 16 final, while Bayosa's Ogoniba Excellency beat Ogungbe Emmanuel of Ogun State 6-3, 6-4 to emerge a champion of the boys under 12 category. And that's sports news. I am Kelechi Bernard.
The commentary is on You and Your Laughter. It is written by Kabiru Babatunde of our legal department. World Laughter Day is celebrated every year on first Sunday of May to spread global consciousness of happiness, healing, friendship, unity, and brotherhood through the power of laughter. Established in 1998 by Dr. Madam Kataria, founder of the Laughter Yoga Movement, the first World Laughter Day took place in Mumbai, India, on January 11, 1998. Since it is said that the primary function of laughter is to create profound social bonds, it is only proper for humanity to celebrate the day by laughing out loud to their heart's content. The longest sustained laughter, according to Harvard record, is by Sunil Kumar SV from India, who laughed continuously for 4 hours, 1 minute and 14 seconds. Laughter, as an evolutionary component of man, is said to be so fundamental to his emotions that he expresses it effortlessly, spontaneously, or unconsciously, like breathing or thinking. Laughter can be a good experience while it lasts. It is said to be the best medicine for coping with stress and improving overall well-being, even if it does not replace actual medical treatment. It is not meant to echo Yoruba proverb which says, when a matter is beyond crying over, it is better to laugh it off. It is not intended to revisit William Shakespeare's saying that there are daggers in men's smiles, the nearer blood, the nearer bloody. In a world of fears and tears, slaughter and laughter, there is need for balanced perspective between inquisition and disquisition. Laughter is not exclusive to man. The Homo sapiens, otherwise called the primates, are said to express it too. Laughter must also have its underlying spiritual inference, as recorded in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 4 of the Bible, that there is a time to cry and a time to laugh, just as the Quran in chapter 53 verse 43 provides that mankind experiences happiness and grief, and inward tears can permeate. Veneer of laughter. Laughter and tears can both be oxymoronic and paradoxical in the sense that as laughter expresses sadness, so does tears express happiness. Practical wisdom enables man to smile or laugh while navigating life's challenges and appreciating the nuances of human experience. World Laughter Day is not meant to celebrate laughter expressed on purpose to ridicule human defect, social error, or cynical imputation. They tend to have stink in their tail. Laughter in the face of abiding sorrow does not necessarily translate to the ability to deal with the sorrow. The day is not a celebration of paradoxical, uncontrollable, unprompted laughter, which is out of context with emotional circumstance or serious situations. It is not meant to deride or ridicule a country's situation or to understate or underestimate its seriousness. Laughter sometimes requires indifference and detachment from popular sensibility and sensitivity to its implication on the gravity of a country's situation. Laughing at a country's failure does not necessarily indicate indifference, resignation to fate, or to desire to address them. If Nigerians intend to celebrate this day by laughing heartily in spite of themselves, if only to comply temporarily with the requirements of the occasion, they must remember that Nigeria's situation is no laughing matter. That commentary on You and Your Laughter was written by Kabir Babatunde and read by Rachel Boala. For weather update, Abuja and Oka mostly sunny with temperatures between 31 and 32 degrees Celsius. Lafia and Gusau are currently experiencing hazy sunshine with temperatures ranging from 35 to 38 degrees Celsius, while Lagos has intermittent clouds with temperatures at 32 degrees Celsius, and Bauchi mostly cloudy with temperature of 38 degrees Celsius. That's the news, but before we go away, here is a recap of the major stories. A human rights activist and lawyer, Mr. Frank Tete, has called on the federal government to urgently step in and protect Nigerian importers facing growing financial fraud and unfair treatment in China. The Kano state government has vowed to rid the state of illicit drugs and fake pharmaceutical products, declaring a renewed commitment to protecting the health and well-being of its citizens. A group, Patriots for the Advancement of Peace and Social Development, has condemned calls for a state of emergency to be declared in Zamfara state, describing it as politically motivated, ill-conceived, and unwarranted. We also told you that a drone attack launched by the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) struck a military airport in the city of Port Sudan. That's the news. Edited by Abubakar Bestu and the production team. I am Jehobi Iana. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've had a pleasant Sunday already. Entertainment waves will follow shortly.
àánú olúwa lẹ̀dá nílò nílé ayé láti lè jẹ́ kí a ṣe àṣeyọrí nínú ohun gbogbo. bíbélì wípé àánú ṣògo lórí ìdájọ́. látàrí èyí lolúwa fi ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò pàtàkì yìí, àkókò àánú èyí tá ó máa gbọ́ níkànnì yìí lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. ọjọ́ ajé monde níbi ìtòlúwa yóò ti máa lo wòlíì àti ajínrere Isaac Adépọ̀jù bàbá bẹ́tẹ̀ láti inú ìjọ Bethel Church of Christ Land of Mercy of Olúkìtìbí Àbáodò Moniya Ibadan. ètò yìí yóò máa dé ti gbọ́rin dédé aago ọjọ́ ajé Monday lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. atọ́kùn ètò níyì Adéọ̀sùn Jẹ́nfàyọ̀ká JP. fún ẹ̀bẹ̀ àdúrà ẹ pè ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run alààyè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 08068242939 tàbí 08143900097. ǹjẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ti máa tẹ́tí gbọ́ ètò yìí lákòókò náà. àánú Ọlọ́run kò ní kò láyé wa. àmín. ẹ kú ojú lọ́nà o.
àtẹ ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ lọ́ba àwọn ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ Amuludun FM 99.1 àwa la lára àgbà yìí dá.